5 people have stated it very professionally that the prosecutor should be prosecuted. District attorneys are respect brave.
So it was a devastating day for Donald Trump at his criminal trial on Monday. The prosecution rested after Michael Cohen wrapped up on cross-examination. There was redirect examination where Michael Cohen was provided with a photograph from the prosecutor showing that Michael Cohen's testimony on cross-examination was accurate when he said, no, I believe in that October 24th, 2016 phone call. Donald Trump was there with Keith Schiller, his bodyguard at that time. Sure enough, there's a photograph from C-SPAN that the prosecutors were able to get in. The prosecution then rested. The defense called first like a paralegal from Donald Trump's lawyer's law firm, very bizarre. And then they called Robert Costello. By all the reporting, all my sources say that Trump's lawyers did not want to call Robert Costello, this MAGA lawyer who kind of weaseled his way into the MAGA world by reaching out to Michael Cohen and then has since become like a MAGA personality since then. But Trump insisted that Costello take the stand. During Costello's testimony, there was a number of areas where the prosecution objected. The objections were sustained. And then Costello, this MAGA witness, and I think my brother Jordy said it so perfect last night on the podcast, Costello behaved on the stand the way the corporate media made it seem like Michael Cohen was going to behave. Whereas Michael Cohen was respectful, eye contact, honest with the jury, even where he had to admit to things he did wrong in the past, Costello acted contemptuous. He behaved in a juvenile manner, and the judge almost held him in contempt. The judge had to clear out the courtroom because Costello started making noises at the judge during his testimony when Trump's lawyer called him to the stand. Emil Boeb, Trump's lawyer, starts questioning Costello, and Costello starts making noises and like grinning and staring down the judge. Here's specifically what went down. Then I want to show you what Donald Trump did when he exited the courtroom. And then he started like, it looked like he was like actually going to cry. And I'm not just saying, oh, like Trump was about to cry. Like it looked like he was about to be in tears. So here's what went down. Tyler McBrien was inside the courtroom. There were more objections that were sustained while Costello was up there. Then Costello goes, geez, into the mic, sounding exasperated. After Costello said geez into the mic, Justice Merchan said, what did you just say? And then Costello says, strike it. Just strike it, Judge. And then the judge is like, excuse me? And then an email is shown to Costello. There are more objections that are sustained. Costello then dramatically blows out a puff of air, sounding exhausted. So then Justice Merchan excuses the jury, and Justice Merchan says, Mr. Costello, I'd like to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom as a witness on the stand. If you don't like my ruling, you don't say geez, and you don't say strike it, because I'm the only one who can do that. And if you don't like my ruling, you don't give me a side eye. Then you had Costello started staring down the judge, giving him a dirty look. And Justice Merchan said, are you staring me down right now? Clear out the courtroom. So the courtroom gets cleared because now Trump's own witness poses a security risk in the trial. Security risk to the judge by engaging in these threatening, contemptuous gestures and behavior. Caitlin Collins then reports on what went down, and we now know what went down from numerous other sources. What happened inside the courtroom when the press was kicked out as Judge Merchan admonished Robert Costello. Justice Merchan said, sir, your conduct is contemptuous right now. I'm putting you on notice that your conduct is contemptuous. If you try to stare me down one more time, I will remove you from the stand. I will strike his entire testimony. Do you understand me? And Trump's lawyer said, yes, Judge, I understand. Then Costello said, can I say something, Judge? No. This is not a conversation, Justice Merchan said. Then Donald Trump exited, and this is what he said. He then called Justice Merchan a tyrant. Watch this.
So thank you very much. You saw what we saw. That was an incredible display. I've never seen anything like it in my life. A tyrant. And everyone's talking about it. This is what we have. We have an acting judge, appointed judge by Democrats, by the club. And they're keeping now, I guess this is our 4th week, soon to be our 5th week. Not campaigning, but you saw what happened, what just took place in that court.
Then Donald Trump, in that clip I showed with you earlier, says the prosecutor should be prosecuted. Many people have said that. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, that's right. You can read that. I can't read it because I'm not allowed to say it. A CNN legal commentator, the prosecutor misled this jury. So there is a case to be made because 5 people have stated it very professionally that the prosecutor should be prosecuted. And district attorney Soros Bragg should be prosecuted because he knew when he submitted his case all about the lies, and therefore he's committed a crime. Many people have said that they should turn this around. He knew.
Donald Trump then complains about having to sit in a freezing ice box that he calls it. And by the way, all of our sources right now and all other public reporting says the courtroom is warm now. The courtroom is not cold. But here he goes and whines that this is that he's forced to be in an ice box and how unfair this is. Here, play this clip.
To gain the respect back, we have to, either the appellate court has to step in, something has to happen. Think of it, the Republican Party, one of the 2 great parties, nominate somebody to be their candidate, and that candidate now has been sitting here for almost 5 weeks in a freezing cold ice box, listening to this stuff, no crime.
Donald Trump then talks about the motion to dismiss, which is actually a directed verdict motion that was filed by his lawyers. Watch this.
This took place in that court, and hopefully the motion to dismiss this trial will go through because this trial is a disaster for our country. It's a disaster for New York State, New York City.
Donald Trump then, at least in my opinion, clearly violates the gag order by attacking Michael Cohen. And I think what the prosecution is going to do, because they want to wrap this case up, they want this case to go to a verdict. The prosecution's rested. They want this case to go to verdict. I just think they're going to use Trump's gag order violations in the sentencing phase if and when Donald Trump is convicted. But here's Donald Trump attacking Michael Cohen and accusing Michael Cohen, a witness, of committing larceny. Play this clip.
Have not made him plead guilty to larceny because you know what's taking place. I mean, you saw that. I won't even mention it because remember, I have a gag order. I'm not supposed to be talking about certain things. And so being very careful, but you saw what happened. And this is CNN mentioning it, which it is, larceny, which it is. And you know what they're talking about because there was an admittance. The money I won't say that. It's the money so I won't say that. In fact, you're going to have to get this one because I can't read it. I've been gagged from reading this. But it's a vicious statement by a respected person at CNN, Ellie Honig. So you'll have to read that one yourself because I've been gagged. Let's see, it turns out now that Trump was, yeah, that's right. You can read that. I can't read it because I'm not allowed to say it.
Here's Donald Trump talking about the witness on the stand, Robert Costello, who was acting contemptuous. Again, another violation of the gag order, talking about a witness on the stand. Play this clip.
But the best there is, he can't testify, not being allowed to testify. And you saw what happened to a highly respected lawyer today, Bob Costello. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. Highly respected. But remember,
more on Donald Trump here complaining and calling the courtroom a freezing icebox, which again, it's not at all. Play this clip.
And then he goes on to things I'm not allowed to talk about. Can you believe? Here I am, vice presidential. We have 15 people that I'm supposed to be meeting about being who's going to be our vice president, but I'm stuck in the refrigerator all day. The presidential nominee, I'm down here by an acting judge. He's acting. And you know who appointed him? Democrats in a clubhouse.
He then whines and says that the perimeter around the courthouse is like an armed camp and you can't get near the courthouse. And again, we've showed you now in videos, dozens of videos, you can get to the courthouse. The public can get there, just like the courtroom's no longer a freezing icebox. You can get in front of the courthouse. Here, play this clip.
We have an armed camp outside. I mean, if you're a civilian, you can't get within 3 blocks of this courthouse. All you have is police. And they're in blue and they look good to me, but I'll tell you what, you don't see any civilians outside. I never saw so many iron gates as I've seen the last 5 weeks. Andy McCarthy.
By the way, you know who was in front of the courthouse? Donald Trump had his red tie brigade. There he had his MAGA Republican Congress members who he dressed up, all wearing the same red tie. Yet Trump dresses them all up. You'll see it right here. They were there, and it was just people heckling them, and rightfully so. And again, we had nothing to do with this. Play this clip.
We have an armed camp outside. I mean, if you're a civilian, you can't get within 3 blocks of this courthouse. All you have is police. And they're in blue and they look good to me, but I'll tell you what, you don't see any civilians outside. I never saw so many iron gates as I've seen the last 5 weeks. Andy McCarthy.
Did I mention that we have nothing to do with this at all? And by the way, just so you see how unfortunate is such an understatement, how harmful the propaganda is from Fox. Fox is acting like the way Robert Costello behaved is what normally happens at a trial. And this is why I say this isn't a political thing. And I know in addition to progressives and liberals who watch this, we have independents, we have conservatives, mainstream conservatives. One of the things that I pride myself on with this network is we'll have everybody from supporters of Bernie Sanders to Nikki Haley and DeSantis and everybody in between, right? From AOC to Senator Manchin, you know, whoever. Like the bottom line, whatever your political belief is, whether you're progressive, whether you're liberal, whether you're independent, whether you're conservative, whether you're mainstream conservative, whatever it is, my whole thing is this behavior is not okay. This behavior is not normal. And that's why I think we have such a broad tent of people just saying, look, I may disagree with you here. I may disagree with you. I may strongly disagree with you here and there. But when Fox says that the behavior of Robert Costello is normal, we know we're being played. We know that propaganda is filthy. Play this clip.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, from what I can tell, I'm reading from my phone now. The judge said, I'd like to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom directly to Costello when he asked people to leave the courtroom. He said, listen to this, Neil. I don't want you to give me side eye and don't roll your eyes.
Whoa.
So, yeah, this is what I'm reading now. I can't be sure that this is what was said, but this is one of the accounts of someone who was in the courtroom. Interesting that it sounds like the judge is trying to quash the testimony. He doesn't like his animation. He doesn't like what Costello, his reaction. I mean, it's a normal reaction when you're constantly getting told objection sustained and Costello can't get a regular train of thought out. And you know what? I agree with Mercedes Callan. When you're in a courtroom and you're constantly objecting or you're facing constant objections, a jury looks at that. They don't like it. They say, what is happening here? Why can't we just hear the story? Let it come out. Why is the prosecution objecting so heavily to this man's testimony? The prosecution's objections can backfire.
We'll leave it at that. You could judge for yourself. If you think that type of behavior is acceptable in a courtroom, if that's how adults are supposed to be behaving, if Donald Trump's behavior is something that you think is appropriate, I think it's despicable. I think it's despicable. Anyway, let me know what you think. trial's winding down. We're going to have a verdict soon. We'll be there every step of the way with you. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. Have a wonderful day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.